Hello, and welcome to another live stream. My name is Shane Olson, and today we're going to be sculpting Appa from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I thought I had sculpted this in the past, but I couldn't remember, so I found it again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should do that guy. So let's do it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this cream color. I like to start out with the color that it is. Okay. Let's take a look at this. This is going to be his cranium. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink it down like this shape. And then let's go ahead and duplicate this. If you can hear me, let me know. Welcome, welcome. It's been a little bit since I've streamed on here. Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you. I'm listening to music, so I'm hoping that's not coming through. This guy might not take that much time. It's pretty easy. But, you know, he's got some details going on. We'll see how it goes. So what's going on, Neil? I think I need to squish this front to back as well. And then he doesn't really have a neck. He kind of has this collar around his neck. It's more like it kind of looks like a dog. And this is made. This design is made by Sean Galloway. Sean's a great guy. Okay. And then for the tail, I think I'm just going to bend a flat thing. So let's see how we can do that. I think I'm just going to take a cube and just kind of flatten it out. Like cube. And just kind of go like so. This is very, very square, of course, so we need to round it out and then bend it. So how are you guys doing today? Hope it's not too hot for you. I got my fan going. Thanks, Neil. You know, I don't have the chat thing in this window like I do on my own site. I need to. Neil, I think eventually I'm going to make that the page I was showing you today. I think I'm going to make that the home page with a link to the store up top so people can go find it, but having the mentorship first, you know? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and split this off in its own sub-tool. Yeah, because I kind of want to make that the main thing, you know? Okay, let's see. ZModeler, I think... Let me think about this. I want round edges, but I'm trying to think if I want to bake them into the corners, like actual have geometry, or create it with subdivisions. So for now, here let's turn the dynamic subdivisions off so we can actually see the real placement. And then just kind of make some loops down the length of this thing. I kind of want them even, so to get them even, what you do is if you hold down spacebar while you're hovering around an edge, you can change the target to multiple edge loops. And then it'll give you this stuff down here. Let me see if per polygon normal, I'm going to say same polygroup. I don't want to add new polygroups. And I do not want to crease the edges. Okay, So now it will, and this is how you can get an edge loop right in the middle. But if you drag, then you can make a bunch. So I'm going to make a bunch like this. Even though I said do not crease, it looks like it just ignored that and just creased it. Silly. Okay, I'm going to say uncrease all. Okay, and then I think I'm going to scale it up to make it longer, so I can bend it into this shape. Okay, so let's move this up into the center as close as we can get it. And then in order to bend this, you just go to this gear and click on Bend Curve. And it will put a bounding box. It's kind of hard to see, but it'll put a bounding box around this whole thing. And the bounding box is based off of where the gizmo was. So and then you can go in here and increase the curve resolution. Right now you can see there's 2 orange dots. That's not really going to let you bend anything. It's just going to move one end and the other. You can do something like this, but what we want to do is increase, maybe not that much, something like this. It doesn't have to be on the lines, you know, it just has to have some resolution that allows you to bend it like this and like this. So we're going to kind of just bend it down. This is too much. There we go. Okay. That's all I really want, and then I'm going to sculpt it into the body and make it match. Hey, what's up, Other Neil? How you been? Okay, so let's go ahead and click on Accept. Now once you click Accept, you can no longer edit that curve and the dots. It's kind of, you can leave it the way it is, but then you can't really sculpt on it. So you have to kind of say accept in order to sculpt on it. And now if I add dynamic subdivisions, this is what I was talking about. You can see that it's now adding kind of this curved edge to it, which I like, but now it's getting kind of compacted and not thick enough on the edges. So in order to add some support, we're going to do support loops in there. And hello everyone just coming in. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. So to insert an edge, I think I might do multiple edge loops again. There's one in the middle, and then I just want to drag it enough to make 3 of them like this. Okay. Now, because I want to do a mirror and weld eventually, so I typically have one loop down the middle. But now I'm going to slide this. So let's go slide, edge loop complete. And I want to make sure we have symmetry turned on so it'll grab them both. And the closer that you have it to the edge, the more it's going to thicken up on that edge. So if we turn this on, you can now see that it's kind of this rounded shape, but it has the thickness throughout, just like the tail. That's kind of what we're after, right? So those are some traditional box modeling techniques that I've learned over the years. It's been a long time. And now we can tweak this a little bit, kind of bend it down a little bit more. And I don't know how low I need to make it until I get his legs in there. His 6 legs of the sky bison. So what's everybody working on this week? What's going on? What's good? I'm going to go ahead and say auto groups on this. And then I want to make his body kind of more square to meet and match this tail. And make his body more square so the legs have somewhere to come out of. We could also go off topic and ask you guys what you've been playing or watching or anything like that. I've been wanting to play Pal World with my gaming buddies, but one of them's been out of town, so I'm waiting. Waiting with bated breath, as they say. Okay, but I played a bit of Pal World in early access. It was a lot of fun. Okay. Sorry, one second. Let me get the distractions off. There we go. Okay, I'm thinking that head might be a little big. And he's got that second kind of spherical shape that is his mouth underneath this cranium, and then he's got this extra mouth bit, kind of almost looks like a mustache, and then he has this bandit mask around his eyes, and of course the mouth cavity. So we're going to work on getting all that going, and his horns and all that. So let's go ahead and duplicate this and shrink it down. And I want to shrink it in 2 axes, but not X as much. Now, there's a secret hidden thing in ZBrush. If you want to scale on 2 axes and not this one, you select the one you don't want to scale it on, and you'll see if you hover over it, it tells you the tooltip. It says hold down Alt to scale on Y and Z. So it won't work if you hold down Alt first. You have to hold it down after you start to click and drag. Hey, Tessa, how are you? Okay, so if I start to scale like this, you can see it's just scaling on the X. But if I hold down Alt, boom, it starts to scale in the other 2 axes. Axes? I don't know how you say it. Yeah, so that's a little trick, I guess. We'll bring that forward. Haven't made any figures in a while, only practicing things like hands. Hey, hands are great practice. I was actually thinking about doing a hand exercise, because there's some great references out there, like from Milt Kahl and others. It'd be really fun to do that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and save this. This up here. Okay. I guess, let's see. There is something we can talk about. Have you guys seen the new Hey Gears printer on Kickstarter that's raised like 10 million plus so far? Oh my gosh, I really want one of those, but I'm gonna have to wait. It's a full color UV printer, so it's a combination resin and color printer. And I believe it uses like an inkjet, like an Epson inkjet printer head. And for every resin pass it does, it prints color on top, which is nuts. It's like the first time I ever saw a color printer was at Gentle Giant. They had a huge one, and that thing was like $200,000. It was the size of a coffin. It was huge, or like a fridge. It was gigantic. Full color. Similar technology, if not the same. Hey, what's up, Ian? Yip. Okay, I think I'm going to stitch these two pieces together right away. I'll separate the body. And because I want to create this mouth cavity right away, and I just want to push it in. So, and then we'll create this extra kind of mustache piece over the top of it to separate it out. I'll leave that one separate, but I think I want to, yeah, combine these two right away. And start to kind of, I want to figure out the transition between this lower jowl and the head. Hey, Raph, how you doing? Welcome. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide this and just say split hidden. That'll do it. And then in ZBrush, how you connect two objects together is you just click on this, you show your gizmo, click on this gear and say remesh by union. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. I think it's because my gizmo needs to be in the center. Let's put that in the center. Just looked at the Kickstarter price. Yeah, it's, well, there's a reason why they raised 10 million. It's pricey, but it's not $200,000. Hey, Ika, how are you? Okay, let's do remesh by union again. There we go. You gotta have your gizmo in the middle, or else it's gonna give you weird results. And then you have to turn symmetry back on. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use Sculptress Pro on this. I'm gonna hit apply on dynamics, subdivisions. And then delete the lower. So then it becomes quite dense. And it makes kind of this mess around the seams. That's what we're going to use Sculptress Pro to solve. So I'm going to turn that on, go to stroke, and then turn off adaptive size. And then we can eyedrop this density off of here. This is the density slider right here. And you can just click and drag it into your scene and let go. And it should kind of try and match the size of your squares. Can you explain what is that remesh by union that you just did? I never used that. Yeah, hello. It's like doing a Boolean operation without Booleaning anything together. It's kind of like doing a Boolean union, I guess. But it's just the where you access it is not in your subtool menu, it's in your gizmo menu. And so remesh by union, you're basically saying remesh this and make it a union, right? Like a Boolean union. And that's basically what it does. The reason I like that so much is because it doesn't rebuild the rest of your mesh. It only affects the stitch, and it will remove interior geometry. So the inside, like of this green sphere and this red sphere, on the interior is gone. There's no extra geometry in there, right? So that's why I like it, and that's why I use it over Dynamesh. I don't really use Dynamesh anymore. By the end of the year, Shane will have 10 of them. No, I won't. Oh yeah, sit in the corner. Oh, that's too funny. It's like Dynamesh, but the problem with Dynamesh is that Dynamesh will rebuild your entire mesh, and remesh by union doesn't. Yeah. Also, Dynamesh will, yeah, it will kind of melt everything too, you know? I haven't sculpted characters in a while, and now that I'm trying again, it feels like I don't know how to do it anymore. Yes, it does. Especially with ZBrush. ZBrush is a unique beast, right? So it's when you walk away, it's kind of hard to come back. It's not as easy as getting back on a bicycle, right? Yeah, it seems to keep more control. Yeah, sure. Okay, so this is what we have so far now. It's a nice transition, and we can turn up our smoothing so we can smooth this even more. Just get that transition nice. We still have, see how it kind of goes in right here. This line at the bottom of the eyes, that's kind of this line right here. And then it comes out. That's kind of where that is. The grubber, hello. Welcome, welcome. ZBrush is the weirdo of the 3D softwares for sure, but it's so good. Yeah. Yep. I mean, what it does so well, right? Yeah, the way it's built is the reason it can handle as many polygons as it can. Okay, let's go ahead and push that mouth in. And that's another thing I've really embraced is Sculptris Pro, because Sculptris Pro is dynamic topology. So if you've ever used other software that has dynamic topology, it's kind of the same thing where it will generate topology while you sculpt, which is nice because you don't run out of geometry. You don't have to think about it too much, you know. Let's see. Your painted lion looks cool. Thank you very much, Comics. Can we get a close-up when there's time? Oh, yeah. I actually have two. They're on this side. Two. The standing one, this one was printed on a bamboo in filament, and this one was printed on a resin printer. And then both of them were colored with acrylic markers. Yeah, I still need to color the face of this one and put the gems in his glove, but yeah, it was fun. Let's see. You know, I could show you. Let me look really quick here. I'm working on a page. This is what it looks like right here. I have a full course on this. So if you go to the store, and I have a bunch of courses, but there's one right here, the Lion-O, and it basically walks you through going from start to finish. Hey, Sammy, how you doing, man? Yeah, this is a full-on collectible workflow. So it shows you slicing, keying, and making this guy from scratch. Posing him, I actually pose him twice. I talked to you about how to pose both the neutral and the action pose. So anyway, if you're interested, there it is. And I have a bunch of other courses. Yeah, some smaller ones, and my free ZBrush brushes right here. You can grab those. And those are the same brushes I'm using right now. Are there any courses you could recommend to learn a workflow where I can keep my sculpts with clean topology? Are you talking about for games? Oh, as I was asking, you started showing them. Yeah. Hey, Unbreakable. Where do you see 3D industry going? Is it still worth pursuing, especially gaming? I see growth in printed field, but I want to know your views on gaming. It's kind of a rough scene right now. But with all the layoffs, I think people are kind of getting scared. And my real opinion is I feel like the execs are kind of trying to figure things out, because they're constantly shifting and trying like live service games and different game styles. The game industry purchasing is not slowing down anytime soon, and I feel like the independent developers are on their way up, which is great because that leaves more opportunity for character artists to work on a broader amount of things, right? And I wouldn't be too concerned about AI that much, because you can use AI as reference and things like that, but you can't art direct AI. It doesn't give you clean meshes or anything like that. So I wouldn't be too concerned. All these layoffs are not caused by AI, in my opinion, anyway. So yeah, let me tell you about the courses here in a second, Mr. Data, and I'll point to you the ones to get for games. I've been working in the game industry game industry for about 25 years or so. I just recently have kind of shifted over to collectibles, and now I just do collectibles. I don't do game characters anymore. So anyway, let me show you. Let's go back to that page. So both of these are game character courses. So yeah, you can see right here, game character. And you can get a bundle with both of them in it. Like this character bundle, it comes with all of them, including Lion-O. So you could get this one. If you're a new beginner, you could get this one. Talking about hands, somebody was talking about hands. I have a hands course in here. Or you can get one with everything right here. That's the best value for what you can get. Anyway, these two are game characters. This is an older one, and this is the newer one. But they both are, you know, this one I taught live, so it's a longer course. So you can set it to like 2 times speed and watch through it. But I did some time lapses in this one, and some people were like, "Hey, I don't want time lapses. Show me real time." So I did. That's what this one is. This is real time. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions about that. Okay. So I want to push this back. We'll give him a collar soon just to fill out that neck. I'm a student of Shane's and recommend taking a look at sirloin at least. Thanks, Ika. Ika's been a student of mine for a long, long time. Yeah, I think there's over 2,000 people now that have taken... I used to have them all in just one big thing, and now I've split them up so people can... just to make them cheaper, more affordable. Yeah, it used to just be all of them together. And I'm also offering a mentorship soon. I've done mentorships in the past, but I'm doing one soon that is... I'm really excited about it because I'm going to treat it like a freelance gig. So it's got deadlines, milestones. I act as the art director and the client, and then you act as though I've hired you to make this character for this specific thing, and then we run through it. Thanks, Ian. And that's starting up soon. I should probably drop a link to that, even though the page isn't done, because you can still sign up for the waiting list there. If you guys are interested in that, I can drop a link. Or Neil, would you mind? I don't know. If you should. I think you have that link, right? Yeah, I'm right in the middle of working on it. Okay, mouth. Sorry, a little sidetrack there. But I'm happy to help you guys out. Showing you where to find the information. Okay. So for mouths, a lot of times I like to do... Neil, can you do links on YouTube yet? I thought I made... Oh, no, this is Maxon. Never mind. I'll do it. Thank you. There's a link. So I'm still working on that page. It's still work in progress. But all the text is legit, and the waiting list is legit, and all the testimonials are legit. I'm just trying to finish up the student images and getting them down there, and replace some of the images up above. But yeah, everything is good to go as far as that goes. And if you have any questions at all, please send me an email. My email is at the bottom there. Okay. I promise I'm going to get back to sculpting here. Okay, so I just mask this off, and then I like to just kind of push it inward, upward a little bit, and let's see. And what the beauty of Sculptris Pro or dynamic topology is that you can see how it has all these stretched polys now, all these stretched triangles. You can just hold down Shift and just kind of rebuild that section. Even though it's still masked, it will fix all those stretched triangles. Sometimes it makes little holes that you have to fix later, but it's not that big of a deal. If you think I need good drawing skills to be able to make good characters, not necessarily. You just need to know good design. Like I can't really draw very well. I can kind of hold my own, but I'm not a sketch artist, you know. There's some people that are, like my friend Matt Thorup's great at character design, but I'm just, yeah, I haven't focused on it, so I never got better at it. Okay, so I'm just kind of trying to make this hollowed out enough that I can put a tongue and a teeth in front of it and make it work. And then I'm just going to pull this down and make kind of this gum line, right, for the teeth to sit on. I'll do the same thing up top. And I use the move brush most of all, as you can tell. And the move brush doesn't necessarily work with Sculptris Pro. It just moves polygons around, so you have to kind of come back with smooth and fix the stretch polys like this. I'm thinking of getting ZBrush, but I only have a mouse. Is it worth it? Oh, you can, but the thing is with a mouse, you only have a mouse button, which is either 0 or 1. Like it's either you're not pushing it or you're pushing it. There's no in between. There's no like pressure sensitivity, you know? So it's, yeah, it's like driving a car with a toggle switch instead of a gas pedal. You know, it's like either full on gas or no gas at all. So I would recommend just trying to get the cheapest tablet you can get, like a Wacom Bamboo or something like that. Anything that you can use. Otherwise, you're just going to frustrate yourself. Okay, so that's pretty good for now. I might come in and tune the lips a little bit more in a little bit. Yeah, but you know, Mr. Day, that being said, a student of mine he's kind of wheelchair bound and doesn't have a choice. So he ends up sculpting with a mouse, but he's constantly messing with this Z intensity slider, which you can also get to by holding down spacebar. Yeah, the draw size and the intensity are right here. So it's possible, but frustrating. That's the old, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I look more into tablets than if it makes it that much of a difference. Yep. It does. It really does. Now, when I'm doing retopology, I like to use a mouse because you're clicking down points. Yeah. Yeah, right? That student, he's still doing it, as far as I know. Okay. Let's get a nose on here. Well, let's get a nose and then we'll do that mustache thing. Hey, Cleverton, how are you doing? Welcome. Okay. Let's get a nose. Nose. Cracks me up every time I put a sphere on there and it looks like a clown nose. Okay. Yeah, the mentorship is it's mainly focused on collectibles, not game characters. I've kind of gotten away from game characters a bit. Nice concept. Yeah, thanks. It's done by my friend Sean Galloway. You've got to check out his stuff. It's great. You know those little golden books that were like for kids back in the day? He does this really cool, like he has a definite style, and he does his version of the book covers in like little golden books in his style, and they're so good. I heard from Brad. I have not. I need to reach out and see what's going on. Give it a little more. Okay, now we can just go ahead and grab this color and fill this object. For the collectibles course, is there a set character design all the students will follow? Okay, so are you talking about the mentorship or the actual course? Yeah, Ian, that's what he told me too. He's like trying to take a break from it. I think he got overwhelmed with it. I don't know what's going on. Okay, I'm just filling all these pieces. Okay. Comics, what I was going to say is the Lion-O course on the store page, that I'm basically building Lion-O from start to finish. So and it's a follow along. You can either follow along and build Lion-O, or you can watch, learn all the all the skills, and then apply it to a different character that you want to sculpt. That's completely fine too. But with the mentorship, that is a pick your own concept and go through it. Yeah, I help you pick your concept. Like I'll ask you to bring like 3 or 5 of the ones you want to do, and I'll help you figure out what you can get done in 6 weeks. Okay, let's grab this face. Yeah, the mentorship starts out with a one-on-one call so we can talk about your goals and what you want to get out of it. Hope you didn't get burned out. Yeah, with the project. Yeah. You know, he was spending a lot of time at work doing like animations and stuff too. So I think between his day job and just trying to sculpt all that stuff, burnout's real. This looks like a mustache. Up a stash. And then I want to pull this down. Well, yeah, see, this is why I wanted to get it all put in here, because this is like way down here like this. If you look at the mouth opening compared to the mustache itself, they're about the same thickness. So like this, and then like this, and then I'll have to move the nose down and all that. So And then the mouth kind of comes up and goes back down. Oh yeah, Max either. Max. Yeah, Lulu, she comes and goes too. You kind of have to tag her in order for her to show up. I think she's just busy. Eventually I'll remesh this so it's not so chunky. Let's see, I made the mouth way too wide. Let's pull it in. There we go. And then the chin now is too thick. Then we'll get the ears in there. Let's get this nose now. Whoop. I think these are both the same poly group, so it grabbed them both. Let's do auto groups. Yeah, it's down like this. Maybe lower, larger, wider. I just read that again. You just lurk like a bad smell. What is that smell? Yeah, for the larger bundles, they come with the community. So what these guys are talking about is my Discord community and my regular community. Don't ask me why I have two. It's a long story. Basically, I had a Discord first, and it's difficult because I don't see emails or usernames. It's all like nicknames, so I don't know who anybody is. I'm sure there are people there that aren't supposed to be. Okay, so yeah, so I have another community where I can actually I know who the people are, and but I didn't want to close down the Discord, so it remains open and people still hang out in there. Okay, I think I'm going to do a mask extract on the eyes. Yeah. The mask. I should probably not do it over the nose like this. Let's try it again. I think I'll isolate this piece. Looks like a baby, like Casper head. Maybe Jim the Squirrel's getting closer. Really trying to refine the shapes. Awesome. Good, good. Okay, so I'm just going to extract this. I hardly ever do mask extractions. Just, you'll see, it just doesn't give me a clean edge off very often. Okay. Extract right here at the bottom of the subtool menu. Let's see how thick this is. Yeah, see how lumpy it is? So sometimes what I like to do first is either make a poly group out of it and then smooth by groups, or I can just do an edge loop mask border. I think I'll do the first one just so you guys can see it. If I hit Control W, it's kind of difficult, but it's got a new poly group. Let's make it a different color. It's white. Okay. So now, see how it's like super jaggy? You can go to the smooth groups. This is my user interface that I give away with my free brushes, by the way. And then you just click on the smooth groups, hold down smooth, and it will clean up that edge really nice. Let me turn off Sculptris Pro so it's not making any more triangles. Let's see how it's nice and smooth now? Then we can extract that. How do you open that menu with your mouse? Well, I have, yeah, this, are you talking about this menu? This custom menu comes with my user interface. The reason I built this custom menu is because the tool menu gets very, very long and there's tons of stuff buried in there. And it's hard to find all the stuff you need. So I pulled out all the stuff that I usually use and stuck it in this little shorter menu. And I access this stuff all the time. I made this back when I was working at Disney, like a long time ago, and I've used it ever since. So I also give this away. It comes with my user interface. So if you want it, yeah. And then I just assign it to the number 2 on my keyboard, not my numpad, just number 2, because 1 is repeat last stroke. So I assign it to 2, and then I assign it to the back button on my pen. And so it will open up underneath my pen no matter where I'm at. So you have to just, and if you are using a mouse, you just hit number 2 on your keyboard and it'll pull it up. So I teach you how to make menus like that on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out. If you just look up 3D Character Workshop on YouTube, you can find it. Okay, so now we can mask this off again. This piece, and then we'll extract that and see if we get a cleaner edge. Yeah, it's cleaner than it was, but it's not super clean, but it works. And then when we like it, we just hit accept, and then it'll make it real. And then I can clear the mask out. Check it out, I want to make one. Yeah, it's really convenient. So we're just kind of smoothing this out. So you can use smooth groups on this because an extracted object has groups around the edges. See this? So you can just smooth the edges clean. Then you can also run, after you do that, you can also run a remesh on it, quad remesh, and it will clean that right up if you want to get rid of all these faces. Okay, let's unhide the nose. We can pull this down. Fill it with this color. How long are you gonna be streaming a day? 2 hours typically. That's how long I usually go. But sometimes if I get tired or I get an eye grain, I'll stop it early, but I try to go 2 hours. Let's turn topological off and just kind of pull this out. Then we can take this mustache thing and push it in. So it reveals more of this mask. I'm going to kind of pull that forward like this. Wanted to ask, what's the average sculpting sphere scale that you would recommend using for perspective view? Will it be effective as possible? I'm trying to understand your question. I'll see if I can catch you later then. Got to run for a bit. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, man. Take care. Okay. So there's not really an optimal sphere size, but there is an optimal ZBrush scene scale size. And what I've done to get that is I've created a ruler file. You can see my ruler right here. Right? And this ruler is set to the scale of 2. Right? That's what ZBrush wants. So if I select this ruler and we go down to geometry and look at the size, see the XYZ size is 2. That means it's 2 meters tall or 2 centimeters tall or 2 millimeters tall because it's in metric system. So this ruler is in metric. I'm trying to make another ruler that's both metric and imperial, but for now, just know that this ruler is 2 units tall, which is actually 200 millimeters tall. And I make 3D printable objects all the time, so I need to know what the real world scale is. And this is the real world scale. This is as close as I can get. And I sat down with the people at ZBrush and we came up with this file. And it has my my ruler and the background grid that actually matches the ruler. See, these grid lines are kind of hard to see, but those match up with the centimeter lines. And then you can use the transpose line to measure your thicknesses, because in printing you have to have your objects have to be thick enough that they'll print and not fall apart, essentially. So that's what this ruler file is for, and I give this away with my brushes, so you can get that, and it works in other programs too, to get scale going back and forth between other programs with ZBrush. So I use this a lot in both my my side work and my professional work. So, and I've also noticed a lot of professional companies will have this ruler in their file. They use it for their measurements too. So, yeah, okay. Hopefully that answers your question. But this is about how big I'm sculpting this guy. But I'll scale. If I 3D print him, I'll scale him to the size that I want him. Yeah, the new ruler that I'm making is actually larger. I meant that sometimes the scale affects the perspective. It makes it almost orthographic, but yeah, you explained it well. So in this custom menu that I have at the bottom, these are FOV lengths, so like 35, 50, and 85. So if I turn perspective on, are you talking about it gets warped out like this? Yeah, then I'll just change it to like 50 or 85. So it'll be a shorter FOV. So it's not about the sphere size or the scale of the scene, it's about the FOV. And I believe you can find that, where is it at? Might be under draw. I think if I hover over it in my menu, it'll tell me where this is at. Okay, it's button path draw 50. Yeah, I can't remember where it's at. That's not telling me. But it says draw. Oh, it's right here. Okay, there they are right here. So under the draw menu, the FOVs are right here. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that helps. All right, but in ZBrush I usually work in orthographic, and I'll change it over to perspective just to check it every once in a while. but I typically won't work in perspective because of slicing and all sorts of other things like that. It'll just kind of break when I try to cut stuff or... Yeah, okay. Get this head shape looking a little more like Appa here. Okay, let's make those horns. That's when it all comes together, is when you start putting in all these extra bits. I'm going to go ahead and separate this. Split by unmasked points. Do you have any figures that you worked on that'll be coming out this year? Yeah, but I can't say. I can't say yet. I don't know if they'll come out this year, but they're in production. I'm pretty excited about it. So far, I've done 2 for Disney Consumer Products, and I'm working on one for Super 7. Well, thanks, Neil. I have not. Boom. Yes. Good old Appa horns. Okay. Looks like they got some wraps on them. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the characters that I got to work on. I've never had a character of that type before out in the world. And I've never done an action figure before, as far as like an articulated action figure. So that's been a lot of fun. I'm learning the articulation right now. I'm going to split this nose away too. Did that answer your question better, MH? Hopefully that helps. Now, I usually like to keep my character's eyes perfectly spherical, but in this case, they're quite flat to his head. So I kind of envision them being about like this. And then oval, and then turned. Then we have to make a match the surface. Now, I'm going to show you guys a trick. Because I want these eyes to wrap around the surface like perfectly, right? So, how do you do that? There is a brush. Before I do it, I'm going to hit save. And then I'll split this off. Okay. The brush, a student was asking me about this the other day. But there's a brush called Matchmaker. If you go BM, you'll find it. And it looks like this. And how it works is really strange. You start from the center, and then you drag outward. And whatever is underneath it, it will try and restructure whatever is above it. It'll take the difference and wrap it, match it to the surface, essentially. So, are you ready? Let's go. Let's click this and drag it out like this. And it's not always perfect, but it looks like there's kind of a mask on it. Let's double check it here. Okay. And it doesn't like symmetry that much. So I'm going to do it to one side and then mirror it over to the other side. I'm going to turn symmetry off and see if we can get it to work better. Okay. Haha! What the heck happened there? So it totally depends on the camera angle as well. So you kind of have to try it a couple times. That's probably as close as I'm going to get it. And for some reason it's painting the RGB on it. That RGB turned on. There it goes. Okay. Let me try it one more time. Sorry, trial and error here. That's better. Okay. So I'm going to keep that. And then we're going to do a mirror and weld. And then I want to pull it out so it matches the surface a little bit better. Yeah, isn't that wild? It's weird because it doesn't look like it's doing anything, but it tries to keep the structure of the original while like shifting things underneath. It's so hard to explain what it's doing. See, look, it's like, what the heck is that? So we're going to soften that. But you can see how it's twisted it. See how that twist in there? It twisted it to match the surface. I want to keep the shape of it. Turn the smooth intensity down. So kind of just relax it here. Thanks for the answer. Absolutely. Eyes on standard characters are always tricky. Yeah, on stylized characters. Yeah, especially anime. Anime is the most difficult eyes, in my opinion. Man, these horns are too big. Shrink them on up. Maybe like this. Maybe like this. I'll have to look at pictures of the cartoon to see like the real angle of these things. So they could be back like this or forward like this, or you know, I gotta look and see. Or straight out, I'm not sure. But going by Sean's illustration here, it looks like they're kind of up here and then straight out. That looks believable, I think. Yeah, eyes on anime characters are so hard because they're flat yet square. And they follow the curvature of the head, but they're almost like a design element rather than an eye, and they have very distinct edges. Yeah, so it makes them difficult to match in 3D. Because they're drawn in 2D and they have a very distinct look and feel. Sometimes I'm like, I gotta turn the wireframe on and off to see what I have selected. Save this. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit load tool. Save this. There we go. Keep the questions coming, you guys. We have almost 70 people watching us today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Did you come for the sculpting or come for Appa? Both are legitimate reasons. Appa's one of my favorite characters of all time. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Let's do some leggies. Let's grab this color first. We'll flip these around and kind of put them here. Both, right? That's the answer. Glad you could catch me, Sparky. What time is it in Australia right now? Is it like insomnia time? Okay, let's kind of bring his... When he's flying, his legs are kind of hanging down like a dead bug. And they kind of... It doesn't show right here, but they kind of drag backwards a little bit too, to show that he's flying forwards. 4 a.m. Oh my goodness. What are you doing out of bed? $5 a.m. in Korea right now. I love to hear where you guys are from. Korea. Well, thanks for dropping by. That's amazing. I've always wanted to check out Korea. One of my good friends' ancestry is from Korea. I don't think he's ever been there, but that's great. Okay. And since I have 6 legs, I'm going to do one all the way, take it all the way, and then duplicate it down the line. Argentina, nice. Brazil, 5 p.m. in Brazil. What part, Raf? Here's 11 p.m. in the Middle East. Oh, nice. Very cool, man. That's I love the internet for that reason. Can't believe it. I never would have thought that would even be possible in my lifetime. Okay, so let's split this off. Duplicate. Whoops, I duplicated the body, not the leg. Duplicate the leg. Because I want to make a foot out of the leg. So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to use the tip of this. And if you select the select loop right here, select lasso, you can then hold down Control plus Shift, hover over an edge, click it, and then it will hide an edge loop like this. I think I want to do one higher. Maybe this, whoops, this one, like that. And then we can do auto groups, mirror and weld. That will put all the groups symmetrical. And then hide that, delete hidden. So now we just have these end caps. And then we'll do a close holes. That will cap that off. And yes, it's ugly triangles. We can click this up. Rio de Janeiro. Awesome. That's another place I would love to visit. Gonna set up for Warhammer with my son soon. Awesome. Very cool. You have to take a picture and show me. So now we can use quad remesher and just remesh this. So we're gonna go Z remesher, but I want to keep the groups. We're gonna turn this smooth group slider all the way down to 0. Otherwise it's gonna try and, well, I guess we can turn it up to a little bit. And then I'm going to say same. I want to keep the same poly count that it has or close to it. And then hit Z remesher. And then it'll clean that cap up like that. Now we're good to go. And what we're going to do now is the same thing to the legs. And we can see the feet underneath the legs right here. So what we're going to do is hide this one this time. And I'm just going to go down the line and just hide all these. Like this. Delete hidden. Gotta make sure I didn't hide anything I shouldn't. Whoops. Ugh. Are you messaging me, Ian? Oh, nice. I gotta do my do not disturb. There we go. Thanks, man. That looks cool. All right. We'll do the same thing. Close holes, which will do the same thing. We'll turn off dynamic just so it's clean. And we'll do a remesh on this one. Keep groups. Turn smoothing down. Same. Go. There we go. That way when we turn dynamic subdivisions back on, it gives us a nice clean edge. Do the same thing to the feet. Nice clean edge, and then we can clean this up. Look, I want to overlap this. See how the skin is kind of overlapped down here, like a tuft of hair. So we're going to do that on the back. Just going to pull it out. And then the front, I just want this to be a clean curve, like the wind's blowing against it. Oh, you're fine. No guilt, man. I'm like, oh, he's going to feel bad now. Totally fine. Okay. And then see how this elbow is kind of poking out? Let's poke that elbow out. Like this. And then this is kind of a skin overlap fold. I'm not going to put that in there till later. I'll just sculpt it in. Okay. And he's got that that kind of brown, it's almost scales down like a dragon down his belly. We'll do that later. But I'm going to pull his, I'll try your UI, seems really useful. Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of people that use it. I wasn't planning on that when I made it, but I just wanted to make a UI that I would, because I was doing this every single day for 8 to 12 hours a day. I still do. So I'm like, I better make my UI environment how I want it. And then I'm like, I might as well share this with everybody else so they can... I think it helps people learn ZBrush too, because it gets rid of a lot of the overwhelming stuff and makes it not so overwhelming, you know. Let me fill this. And then, like, for example, this menu, it cleans up this menu so you can find stuff really easily. And I talk about this stuff when in my courses, so it kind of goes hand in hand with my courses. I can show you where it is without digging through the menus, you know. Okay. I'm going to actually duplicate this eyeball and use it as the pupil because it's about the same size, just smaller. Let's pull this out, shrink it on down, pull it down about there. And then I'm not going to use Matchmaker on this one. I'm just going to kind of try and rotate it into place as best as I can. Does it have hotkeys too? No, you have to set up the one hotkey. It's only one hotkey. And the UI comes with instructions on how to set up that hotkey. And the reason why is because the reason I don't use a lot of hotkeys is because typically I like to set I have a Cintiq, like a big Wacom screen, and I like to put that in my lap and put my keyboard away. So I don't use hotkeys. That's why all of my brushes are out here, so I can access them quickly. And then I just have the one key for the menu that I use all the time. So that's pretty much the only keys that I use. And then then I set up some hotkeys just for like Control Shift and Alt, and then eyedrop is another one, and then going up and down subdivisions is another one. Okay. Now that I have these in place, I can see that his mask is too big. Listening to good old Hall & Oates. Yeah, ZBrush doesn't really need a lot of hotkeys. I use Z to bring this ring up and Shift Z to hide this. Yeah, I'm trying to think of hotkeys that I use. Not too many. Spacebar for this menu. I don't ever use this menu for some reason. I should, I just never got used to it. Because I could probably get rid of a lot of things on my interface if I just used this. But, oh well. I have too much muscle memory to change things now. What about your masks? What do you mean? I just use Control. Control. Oh, that's Control plus Shift. This part, like that. And then you can add Alt to it to change it to red. Yeah, those three keys, like I said, those are the three keys that I use on my hotkeys, I guess. It's got bulbous eyes. I don't want bulbous eyes. Yeah, like if you use ZBrush on the iPad, it comes with a little puck, right? And usually on an iPad, you don't want to have hotkeys either, because that defeats the point of being mobile. So I've set up my menus on my iPad to match this. And then I've imported my brushes onto the iPad, and then it has that little puck, that little circle, and those are the only hotkeys that I really use on the iPad as well. Same. Okay. I always tell my friends that ZBrush is like a fighting game because of the long button combos you do sometimes. Yeah, there's not... It depends on what you're trying to do. I joke about that as well. There's one that is like... It's like finger gymnastics to do, which is add or take away objects from your selection. That one's really weird. But the rest of them aren't too awful. Okay, to finish this, I need to put the teeth and tongue and stuff in there. Let's solo this so I can get up in there. Whoop. There we go. It's feeling a little better. I think his eyes are a little too bulbous. I need to squish him down. Have you ever used the Sculptors Pro option? Hey, Tan War. Yes, I do all the time. In fact, this head, you can see it. See? Sculptors Pro. Use it all the time. That's my favorite. Okay, let's get some teeth going. I love his top teeth, how they're like a hippo. Just gonna use spheres. Squish them down. Okay. And I'll just use the move brush to square these out. Sometimes I forget that I have topological turned on. Topological is masking. It's considered masking. So if you have a mask like I do here and this, it's like they fight against each other and they don't work all the time. Okay. I think I'm going to Z-remesh this this mustachio thing. Let's hide these teeth, and then split hidden. And then we'll Sculptors Pro this thing. Or, sorry, Z-remesh this thing. Let's do half. Yeah, that should work. And then we'll do it a couple times. There we go. Just the lower you get, and then you turn on dynamic subdivisions, the cleaner it's going to be. But it will get rid of your poly paint. I think there's an option to keep your poly paint now, but I'm just too lazy to turn it on, I guess. I always forget it's there. Yeah, Z-remesher is absolutely magic for sure. Okay, these teeth are a bit too big. Look how cute. Aw. Look at that Appa. Looks like he's got an underbite. It's like, eh. Let's fix it. There we go, that's better. I think I'm gonna remesh his head as well. I no longer need the thing that I used to make the mask out of. And sometimes I just like to let Z-remesher do its thing and not try and guide it so much. So I'm gonna duplicate this because I want to reproject the color back on after I do it. Is there video ref for the pop-up window, that tool you're using? What, a video ref? Are you talking about this menu? Yeah, this is my custom menu. I made a video on how to make custom menus, and or you can get this from my website. The link's in the description. It's just... yeah, it's my free brushes, user interface, and ruler file, if you want those. Okay, so duplicate this. Go ahead and save. I'm going to hide the original. Actually, we'll solo it like we are. Okay, and then let's Z-remesh it. I'm going to Z-remesh it like 2000, I think. No keep groups. Go. There we go, nice and clean. How to make a custom menu in ZBrush. Yep, so if you go to my YouTube channel and look that up, you can find it. Okay. So now that I did this, you'll see that it's nice and clean, but it got rid of the poly paint, the color. So to get that color back, we'll turn Solo off. He's got a brown head now. I'm going to hide everything except for these two pieces. Okay. And now I can just say project all, but only choose color. And that's also on my menu. So see color and geometry. I'll turn geometry off and just use color. Hit project all, say yes, and there we go. And now I can subdivide this or turn on dynamic subdivisions and then get rid of the original. Bye-bye. See how much cleaner it is now? That's how you make your meshes clean. Clean. Okay. See, so now we have his mustache. Here, let's hide that ruler. So his mustache is clean geometry, his head, his teeth, his nose. Yeah, the only thing that's not cleaner is this mask thing here. So I think what I'm going to do, there's 3 group loops going around the edge of this thing. I think I'm going to isolate them to just be 1. Okay. Like this. And just hit Control W, which will put everything that's visible into 1 polygroup. It's like a sleeping mask. Will you teach how to do toy articulation in a future tutorial? I'm thinking about it. I don't know enough about it right now to feel comfortable enough to teach it. I'm still learning it myself. I did an interview with George Crudo from McFarlane Toys, and he went through it and talked about it a lot and how to do it. One place you can find some information is, I'm trying to think of his last name. His name's Paul. If you look up Paul, I think it's Bennett, Paul Bennett at the ZBrush Summit. He did a talk at the ZBrush Summit. It's on YouTube, and I was there, and I actually stood up and asked him if he could demo doing articulation, and he did. So you can watch it. If I have a realistic sculpt and I do remesh, I lose the details. Is there a way to keep them that's not increasing the remesh count? Yeah. So did you see what I just did with the paint? So you will duplicate your high resolution with all the detail, and then you'll remesh the copy, and then you subdivide the copy, like actually subdivide it, not just dynamic subdivisions, but real subdivisions, and then project color and geometry back down to the new one. And then you'll have all the details, and you'll have a clean mesh. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, ZBrush Hasbro will find it. There you go. Thanks, Neil. Okay, let's do a Z remesh, but we're gonna keep the groups. Turn down smooth groups. We'll keep it at 5,000, I think. We'll see. It's probably gonna be overkill. Yeah, but then we can just do half. Half. And just lower that on down. The lower you can get it, the cleaner it's going to be when you subdivide it. Like that. Glad to help. Okay. See, now we're all clean. Is there a difference between using the move topological and turning on topological? It's the exact same thing. The reason why I put the button on my user interface rather than the move topological on my user interface is because you can use this with any brush, right? Not just move. So even smooth. So say I want to smooth. Let's see, these 2 eyeballs are in the same. Okay, the pupil and the eye are in the same thing, right? So if I choose the move brush, it's going to move them both together like this. If I choose topological, it will only move whatever I select first, like this, right? So if I want to smooth it, and I only want to smooth the pupil, I'm holding down Shift and then turning on topological. I'm only smoothing the pupil. See? That's how you do. That's why it's there. Okay, looks like these got off symmetry somehow. I'm going to turn off local. And then we're going to mirror it and then mirror and weld it. And there we go. They're symmetrical again. Okay. So useful. Thanks. I'm glad to help. I think I've been using ZBrush for the last 15 years, maybe? I want to say 15 years. I didn't know you could turn topological on any brush. You can. Yep. It's just a mask. It's just a way of masking. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people don't know this either. I've contributed to ZBrush through the years too, here and there. You always make a mask or hide. Yeah, that's another way of doing it for sure. But topological, you don't have a mask, or you can still see your geometry. Yeah, I already did. Oh no, I didn't. Thanks, Neil. You're always looking out. All right, thanks. This is Appa with only front legs. Now let's go ahead and duplicate these. I'm going to merge the feet in with the leg subtool so I could just duplicate them together, I think. So let's merge this down. Okay. Let's save it. Yeah, I think it's better. Yeah, I use it all the time. All the time. Okay, anyway, what I was going to say is I contributed to Zizu. Trying to remember where it's at. Under Tools, Projects. Oh, Tools, and then Maxon. Maybe Projects. Yeah. Okay, see Zizu? I made all of these. There's 100 of them. Yeah. The owner of Pixelogic called me up one day and he's like, "Hey, could you make these really quick?" Sure. That was a fun thing. Okay. So if you have ZBrush, you have those. Hands up once again. Oh, thanks. It's funny because I never use Zizu. Just because of the way I do things. I don't start with a Z-sphere. I know a lot of people that do, but I just personally don't. So I find it kind of ironic that I made those and don't use them too much. I probably should try and use them more. Yeah, I tend to just block out my characters. I'll either start with a base mesh, if it's for a freelance job, that's like a female character or something. Even goblins, whatever I'm doing, I'll start with a base mesh. I don't block it out like this every single time. Sometimes I will, but not every time. He needs a collar. His neck's looking pinched. I don't like using assets made by me. I didn't say they weren't made by me. I even hesitant to use brushes I didn't make. I should change that a bit. Yeah, you got to change. Otherwise, you're just going to restrict yourself. That's kind of being snobby. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. Let's see. Grab this cylinder. Split. Yeah, it's funny because I used to work at a game studio. Whoops. I used to work at Avalanche's game studio, and back in the day, they didn't want to use anybody else's game engine either. They wanted to write their own, right? Which is commendable, for sure. But at the same time, it's funny, they're using Unreal now for Hogwarts Legacy, but yeah, back in the day, they just wanted to make their own. Just so they can have control of it and everything. I understand, but at the same time, like Unreal was so... it was being used by so many different game studios that, I guess there's goods and bads of everything. Giving up control versus the bug fixing and having more stuff than you would ever need. in a game engine. Okay, this is too tight. Too tight. It's choking. Mr. Data, I'm just giving you grief, by the way. Just teasing. Okay, let's see. But that being said, I'll have to say this. Don't use a base mesh if you're a beginner. You want to learn how to make it yourself first. Don't use a base mesh as a crutch. And I can say the same thing about AI, right? Don't use AI as a crutch. Use it as, if you're going to use it as reference. If you're serious about, you know, being a character artist. But after, you know, after being in the industry for so long, you start to look for shortcuts. Because time is money. And the faster you can get something done, and you can get to the final product, the path doesn't matter as much. But that doesn't mean, again, take shortcuts with AI, because AI is not copyrightable. So you got to be super duper careful with that if you're going to be working for a company. And you can't, because you don't want to upload their concepts to a cloud, and yeah, that's just going to get you into trouble. Okay, mirror and weld. Okay, there we go. I'm a beginner, that's why I want to learn. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I say that in my courses, you know. It's like learn how to do the blockouts, learn how to do the base meshes. Make your own library, you know, and then use them again if you need to. Like when I worked on Disney Infinity, we had a gigantic library of character parts that we would share. Oh, how's it going? Well, I'm this far. And I need to adjust this tail to flow in better. Let's do something like this. More Appa. You guys watch the new Avatar movie on Paramount? It's pretty good. I can't not hear Dave Bautista's voice, though. Like, all I hear is Drax. It's a good show, though. They did a good job, in my opinion. I'm just glad we get more Avatar. And I hope they keep going with it. You haven't seen it? It's pretty good. I recommend you watch it. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, using third-party asset can be trouble. High-level art viz can take hundreds of textures and models per scene, and using corporate license with resale rights can make it super expensive. Yeah, Nick, absolutely. That too. That's another asterisk, right? got to be careful. Yeah, usually the base meshes actually come from the company that I'm doing the work for. Like from stuff they've already done in the past, you know? That's where it makes the most sense, right? Okay, so for this, here's the thing with these legs, right? I want to merge them into the body, but I don't want to merge them together. See how they're touching? If I did a remesh by union right now, it would merge these legs together and they would stick. So what I need to do is pose them away from each other, kind of like when Appa does this thing, you know? I kind of have to do that. I just need to move them away from each other enough that they're not going to stick. And I also need to move them away from the body enough that they're not going to stick to the body either. So right now they're all in the same subtool. They're all the same poly group. So let's go ahead and do auto groups. And then I'm going to put the toes in the same group as the legs so it's easier to manipulate. Let's use select rectangle instead. Okay, let's do this. Actually, let me do a remesh by union first. Or not remesh by union, mirror and weld. I say one thing and mean another. Just to get them symmetrical, so then we can get them hid. Control W, put them in the same poly group, invert, Control W, Control W. Okay, so now we have 3 beautiful colored legs. And now we can pose them one at a time by hitting mask. And then we'll just kind of pose it away from its neighbor and then bring it out a little bit. I like to put the gizmo where the joint would be and then rotate it out away from the body just a little bit. We'll rotate it back in later on. And then I'll probably leave this one as it is as far as front to back. Maybe push it forward a little bit. Bring it in. Rotate it out. Maybe the same as that other one. And then this one's not touching already. But we'll move it a little bit more. And looking from the back, move it out. Like a dough. Okay. Now I want to merge these with the body. And I think I might want to merge it with the tail as well. I can do it all at once. But I want to get the geometry even. It's better if the geometry is even before you stitch it together. So right now, all of these have dynamic topology turned on. So if we turn it off, you can see how the body is a lower density than the legs. And then the tail is a much lower density. So if I turn dynamic off, see how it's really chunky monkey? We don't want that. So we're going to turn dynamic on and then hit apply. And that will add subdivision levels and then delete lower. And that will make it way more dense. Okay, and then we'll do the same with the body, but I'm only going to subdivide that once. So Control D will give it a real subdivision level. Delete lower. And then we have these. These are pretty good, I think. See this, the square size matches the size of the squares here. And this is a little tighter. We could probably remesh this. So let's do remesh at half and see if we can get that tail a little cleaner, a little lower. Maybe one more time. There we go. See, that's closer. So we're going to get a better stitch. And what I could do with this tail is just lift it up a little bit right at the intersection where it connects and just dip that into the body a little bit more. And I'm just looking for a stitch line. Like what is that going to look like? So if I get a clean stitch line, it'll be much easier to clean up afterwards. And then the tail won't be stitched to the body underneath the tail as much. So I won't have to worry about that either. So that'll be a much cleaner stitch. So let's merge all these pieces together. Before I do that, we're going to save it. Okay, and we have to have all these in the same subtool to stitch them together. So let's go find everything. We're going to find the legs and the body are already up there, and we're going to grab the tail and just going to move it up right there. Okay, and then we'll merge these together. So we have the body, and then we'll merge it down. Okay, and we'll do it again. Let's see, is that... Okay, that's merged with the legs, and then we're going to merge it with the tail. The icon didn't update, and I'm like, did it work? Okay. And this will also stitch the legs to the toes. And I don't necessarily want that. So for a second, I'm going to remove them out of this subtool. So actually, is that what I want to do? Let's do auto groups. Remesh by, or mirror and weld. And that'll put these toes in their own groups. Yeah, so let's just split those off. Sometimes it's a little bit of gymnastics dealing with ZBrush, like getting things how you want them so you could do certain maneuvers. Okay, so now we have the body. We're going to stitch all this together. So let's go turn on the gizmo. You want to put it right in the middle. So we're going to turn off symmetry for a second. And then we're going to hit this button right here. It's going to pop it into the middle. Then I also like to hit this reset orientation to reset the gizmo. And now I want to turn symmetry back on because I want the stitching to be symmetrical. And then we'll do remesh by union, and it'll do it. And then we click on the gear and say accept. Now you can check the stitches and make sure that they look good. See all those stitches? That's good. That's what I want. So now we got to turn symmetry back on, lest we forget, right, Neil? And you can see that the legs are not stitched to each other. I have a multi-menu like yours, and I didn't know you could make one. Yeah. So speaking of that, I do have my own custom menu over there. You can find it in my store. And it just brings to the surface a lot of the functions that I do here. Same kind of. I mean, that program is not ZBrush, but as close as you can get it, you know? Okay, so since we have all these stitched lines, we don't necessarily want to keep them. We can clean this mesh up a lot before we pose it. You downloaded it already. The Blender menu or my ZBrush menu. There's two. Okay, so I want to Z-remesh this while keeping these groups and see what we get here. Okay, so keep groups. We're going to turn the smooth groups way down. And then hit same and then remesh. We'll see what we get here. Yeah, see that cleans it up. Yeah, sorry, I was talking about the other program. We're on Maxon's channel, so I don't like to talk about other software. But yeah, there you go. Okay. Anyway, we can clean this stuff up and clean up these transitions. We can keep the poly groups if we want. And it did get rid of the poly paint, so we'll just fill the whole thing with this. And we can turn on dynamic subdivisions. So now we have the body and the tail all smoothly transitioning now. We're going to select the smooth stronger brush, but we're going to turn it way down just so we can smooth out these transitions even better. So it doesn't look like they're separate pieces, you know? There you go. Bye-bye transitions. But see, this is why I love primitive objects so much, is because now I get to keep these nice creases underneath the legs and the body like that, right? but I can get rid of the transition creases up top. And see, I can keep this crease under the tail, but work out the transition up top. It's really nice. You kind of get them for free when you use primitive objects. And then we can go ahead and pose these legs back. But what I'm going to do in order to do that is I'm actually going to pose it. So I'm going to use T-Pose Master to do it. So we're going to do, because I believe it keeps the polygroups in T-Pose Master. So we're going to hit T-Pose Mesh, and it'll go into this state. It looks like it didn't keep them. Well, that's not very good. I'm not going to be able to do it. All right, we're going to go back. I wonder if there's an option to keep them somehow. I'm pretty sure there is. I'm trying to remember. No, load from disk. I got to look that up because I swear there was a way. Okay, so what we can do is we can use the pizza box method instead, because I want to move these toes with the legs, or I can merge the toes back into the same subtool as the legs. That's probably easier actually. But I'll show you what I was going to do in case you ever wanted to do it. So, but it's kind of a hassle because you got to do some masking gymnastics, right? So if we have these toes, I would mask off just these toes, go to the body, mask off the front leg, then turn on the pizza boxes, hide everything but just show the body and the toes, and then just move the legs like this. And that way the toes would come with it, right? It's in the Z plugin menu. Okay. Under Subtool Master, I assume. Subtool Master? No, maybe T-Pose Master. Where is that? Transpose Master right here. Keep groups. There we go. Thank you very much for that. So I just got to turn this on. No Z-Sphere rig. We don't like that. Okay. Cool. Yes. Yep. That's where you find it. So it's Z plugins, Transpose Master, groups. You just got to turn that on. So should we try it? Let's try it. Here we go. There, kept my groups. Nice, thank you. Okay, here we go. So with this, I feel like the easiest way to just mask these legs off is to isolate them and then invert them. Well, sorry. Let's do that again. Isolate them. There we go. Now they're hidden, and we can mask this off. And then unhide those. And we can blur this mask out a little bit. Boom. And it'll just blur it so there's a smoother transition. And then we can just put this gizmo where the joint would be. And then, whoops, we got to turn on symmetry. I want local symmetry on, no dynamics. There we go. Yeah. And then we can pose them flying back again this way. Hold on, sorry. And then clear that mask, do the same thing. This is the gymnastics, the finger gymnastics I was talking about, adding to a mask selection. So if I hold down Control and click on this leg, you'll see it isolates this leg as a mask, right? But if I want to add this toe to the unmasked selection, I have to hold down Control, click the toe, drag it towards the thing that I had unmasked before, and then add Shift like that. Shift, Shift, Shift. And now the toe is not masked either. See that gymnastics? I have to like Control and it's weird. But it works. It's there. Okay, blur. So that's why sometimes I'll just hide it instead and then do the masking thing that I did before. Okay. And we'll do it again. Let's clear the mask, isolate this one, go like this, drag it, let go. And then blur. Move the gizmo up here. Move it back. And then bend this in like so. And that's how you do it so the leg is not stitched to the body. And now if we turn on dynamic subdivision, it smooths everything down really nice. But we're still in pose mode. So I'm going to undo the dynamic. We're going to go back to regular. You'll see the legs get posed, the toes get posed, and we're back in business. Those are the Mortal Kombat combos. Yeah, exactly. Go daddy. Where are they calling me? All right, guys. I need to wrap this up. I'll call him back. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. This is how far we got. I think his head needs to be a little bigger, and I'm going to pose it looking down like this more and adjust his body. That's how you kind of do it, is you get everything in place, and then you go and do an adjustment pass and adjust all the proportions of everything. But anyway, if you want to learn more about how to create stylized characters, I have tons and tons of courses on my website. The link's in the description. I also have a mentorship coming up, and I'm super excited about it because it's going to walk you through just like a real freelance gig. If you're going to do like contract work for a company or work at a big studio or even do like an STL business for yourself, something like that. It's a short 6-week mentorship. If you want to find more about it, it's coming up, and let's see, there's a link for it. Neil just put it in Twitch. I'll put it in YouTube. The page isn't quite complete yet, but you can sign up for the waiting list if you're interested. Yeah, you'll be notified. There is an application process because it's for intermediate and advanced students only. So, all right, guys, thanks again. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks, Neil. Thanks, ZBrush. We'll see you all, guys. All you guys. I can't talk today. We'll see you guys later.